Welcome back. Now, our special guest is Rick Darling, former Australian opening batsman and South Australian champion, of course. Rick, I couldn't let you go without getting into this side of it. The decade of the 70s was what they called the decade of the quicks. Just some of the quicks around the country that we had to face, or you had to face on a regular basis, on every game, because every state had them. And I think every kid in the world wanted to bowl fast because of Thompson Lily. Just take us through a few of those.
Well, I think at the Australian level, this is for Australia. We had right throughout the 70s. It just seemed like there was Lily, Thompson, Walker, Gilmore. Gilmore and Walker would slot into that number 3 position. But and that's legendary, legendary. But all states seem to have their number 1 quick. Okay, Western Australia, Lily. We had Wayne Pryor, Rodney Hogg, Alan Hurst in Victoria.
Alan Walker,
Lenny Pascoe.
Lenny,
he was mad. Lenny Pascoe in
very mad.
And Thompson, Rackerman, etc. In Queensland. So it was a really good era for the quicks to, I suppose, promote themselves, but not such a good era for us as batsmen.
The old opening batsmen, who obviously before that, as we mentioned before, you're facing these guys virtually with nothing on. You might as well be nude. I mean, you're wearing a Woman's Weekly as a thigh pad and getting $6 a day on green tops to face Jeff Thompson. So that sort of thing, a lot of people don't realise that back in those days, the decade of the quicks, there was no protective gear, really.
Correct.
Other than your little red hat.
Which
was a bit frightening. It
was probably fortunate for me that I was young, and had, what it's like when you're young, you're pretty bulletproof. You want to take them on, you want to do this and that. But once I started playing, once I'd been in the scene for a couple of years, and got sconed a few times, I think, hang on, I've got to give these blokes a bit of respect. So, and then, of course, helmets came along, and it did change the game somewhat.
A lot.
Yes.
You ended up with your tail end hooking, because they could. Because they know they're not going to get hit. But you mentioned earlier, when we were talking earlier about you're a bit of a wuss if you wore a helmet. Back in very early time, I think Tony Greig was one of the first ones to wear one at World Series. And everyone said, oh, what are you doing, mate? Are you riding a motorbike or whatever? Nobody really wanted to wear them. But when you look back now, wow. I wish I had one.
Well,
for sure.
The first one I remember was Graham Yallop. We were in the West Indies. And, of course, helmets weren't thought of then, and Graham must have got something off Tony Greig, and it was a motorbike helmet with, remember, SP on the top.
I do remember,
the top. So Yallop wore that for the first time. I don't think he had a visor, but he still wore the helmet. And of course, in the West Indies, he got well, as soon as you put a hat on, the helmet. They come even shorter.
Exactly.
But it still gave you that little bit of confidence to
play the hook and
or even duck and weave and get behind them to there. So it did give you a little bit more confidence.
But great quicks, weren't they? I mean, it was a great time to play cricket. I think we had a chat to Wayne Pryor a couple of weeks ago on the show, and he classes that game, the game against Victoria on the Adelaide Oval, as the best game of cricket that he's ever played in. That was the game with the night of the strike where we had to get 300 odd.
Yes.
He rates that as the best game of cricket that he's ever played in. So can you go back? I don't know whether you remember that match or not, but great games of cricket that you've played in.
For me personally, it was a test match against Pakistan in Perth. I was lucky enough to get 270s in both the digs and winning the man of the match. So, and that's in the days where, big crowds and whatever, and we were chasing...
And some big names, Rick, in that Pakistan side as well.
Imran Khan for one. We were chasing 300 or something on the last day. And I got off to a pretty good start, scoring 70. I think Border came in and scored 50. Yallop maybe got 100. And we chased him down. So that was...
Great feeling.
It's a great feeling. Not so much sort of sitting up in the rooms after you got out, but just the camaraderie after the game.
For the win.
No, it was
always great,
beautiful.
That was always great. The days of the opposition team coming into your dressing room. If you were in the field all day, they would come into your room, have a couple of beers. I don't think that goes on too much today.
Not at all.
Which is a shame, in a sense.
It is. In fact, I reckon that finished probably finished in the mid 80s, I
Yeah,
think, after the
yeah.
World Series boys come back.
Yeah.
And players were getting paid a little bit more money.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't want to be seen to mix with the opposition too much in case each party gave too much away.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and just the general change room banter. Well, you tend to say a lot of things that you don't. There goes the thing.
Yeah.
You tend to say things that you don't really mean, or
Sure.
you don't want anybody else to hear.
Yeah.
So
I can remember Queensland, if you fielded during the day, then you'd come back into your rooms and there would be a 5-gallon keg in the corner of the room.
Oh.
That was probably a little bit before
Yes,
you, but
yeah.
there'd be a 5-gallon keg.
Yeah.
So if you were in the field, the Queenslanders would come into
Yeah.
your room and you would share the...
what else did
the
what
five.
did the other players drink? You had the 5-gallon.
I had, yeah, that's pretty close to the mark there as well. Although you know a few of the blokes that would have chipped
yes,
in and helped
yeah.
out. Great to talk to you, mate. It really is. It's always good to catch up with former teammates. And I do look forward to that reunion because there's a lot of guys. I know that Gary Cozier, I believe, is coming over from Queensland, coming down from Queensland. So most of the team, there'll obviously be a couple of absentees in that lot, but I look forward to catching up again, mate. I
Yeah,
really
well,
do.
I'm not sure whether that is sort of set in stone yet,
No,
is it?
but it's on the way.
It's on the way.
It's moving.
You know, it'd be great to get everybody together
Exactly.
and tell a few more lies
Exactly
and
right.
exaggerate a bit.
Yeah.
So, but
Good.
no, a great era, and I'm fortunate.
Yep, you were, and you're a good player, mate, a very good player. My special guest on the SA Sports Show, Rick Darling.